The first dimension, the intellect or the buddhi, is crucial for your survival. You are able to discern a person from a tree only because your intellect is functional. You know that you must walk through the door, not through the wall, only because your intellect is functional. Without this dimension of discernment, you would not know how to survive on this planet. On more complex and sophisticated levels, intellect has contributed immeasurably to human culture and civilization. The problem of our times, however, is that the intellect has taken on a disproportionately important role. Modern education has encouraged a completely lopsided development of this aspect of the mind. The essence of the intellect is to divide. So humanity has embarked on a journey of wholesale division, discrimination, and dissection. We have split everything. Even the invisible atom has been split. Once you unleash the intellect, it splits everything it encounters. It does not allow you to be with anything totally. Although it is a wonderful instrument for survival, it is also at the same time a terrible barrier that stands between you and your experience of the oneness of life. How do we address this problem? Yoga offers us a way. In our times, it is not just a useful strategy, it is perhaps our only chance of reversing a journey that seems to be taking us headlong towards self-destruction. The intellect is becoming a barrier because you keep it constantly dipped in the accumulative part of the mind, your memory, manas. Examine this for yourself. You will find that every thought that arises in the mind has its roots in data you have already accumulated. The data may be gathered consciously or unconsciously. In any case, this basically means your intellect is perpetually immersed in the past. In such a state, nothing new is now possible, and so the intellect loses its edge and becomes a trap. The accumulative part of the mind is, to put it simply, just society's garbage bin. It is merely a heap of impressions you have gathered from outside. Anybody you encounter stuffs something into your head and moves on. Your parents, teachers, friends, enemies, preachers, the news anchors on the TV, just about everyone. You have no choice about who to receive from and who not to receive from. The moment you say, "I don't like this person," you often end up receiving much more from him or her than anybody else. You have the ability to process the information you receive, but that is all. Your ability to merely recycle the garbage you have picked up is what the mighty intellect has been reduced to. The blitzkrieg of information that your mind receives daily enters you only through your 5 sense organs. Your sense organs, as we have seen before, always perceive everything only in comparison. Where there is comparison, there is always duality. Suppose I were to show you my hand. While you are able to see one side, you cannot see the other. If I were to show you the other side, you won't be able to perceive this first side. Human perception through the sense organs is always piecemeal. It can give you an illusion of completeness, but can never comprehend the whole. When you keep your intellect dipped in this limited, fragmented, accumulative dimension of your mind, you draw conclusions about life that are completely distorted. The more people become engrossed in thought, the more joyless they become. It is unfortunate, but let me be clear. Thought in itself is not a problem. People who think with clarity should be joyful. Unfortunately, for many people, the more they think, the more incapable they become of smiling. The problem is just that they have enslaved their faculty of discernment to the limitations of their sense perception. But the same intellect can be sharpened if you allow it to soak in the other aspect of your mind, your awareness, Chitta. If you want to reach your ultimate nature through the mind, you need to make the intellect truly discriminatory, in the ultimate sense. This does not mean dividing everything, good and bad, right and wrong, high and low, heaven and hell, sacred and profane. Instead, all it means is learning to discern the real from the illusory, what is existentially true from what is psychologically true. If you soak your intellect in your awareness, the discerning dimension of your mind can turn into a miraculous tool of liberation. It can become razor-sharp, slice through what is true and untrue, and deliver you to a different dimension of life altogether. Learn to place your intellect in the sheath of your awareness rather than in the slack of memory and identification. Once you do this, this tremendous instrument can cut its way effortlessly towards the ultimate. Sadhana. If you consciously walk a tightrope, you have no choice but to be aware. If your intellect is constantly choosing between good and bad, it has become a prejudiced intellect. And when it is busy sorting the world into good and bad, you will most definitely fall off the tightrope. Don't take the tightrope literally. You could just try bringing a certain precision into the physical movements of the body. If you have a Hatha Yoga practice, it should happen anyway. For instance, if you see a straight line on the floor, try walking in perfect alignment with that line, maintaining an easy gait. It is not about becoming self-conscious, but about becoming precise or exact. Try this with your body and see. Bring precision into every movement, every gesture. This is one way of dipping your intellect in awareness. Awareness is aliveness. What do we mean by the word awareness, anyway? What does it signify, and how can we access it? First and foremost, let us make an important distinction. Awareness is not mental alertness. Mental alertness will only enhance your ability to survive in the world. It is a dog-like alertness, useful in self-preservation, but not in self-expansion. Awareness is not something that you do. Awareness is what you are. Awareness is aliveness. The dimension of the mind that modern societies have completely ignored at their own peril is awareness or chitta. This is intelligence that is completely unsullied by memory. This is the deepest dimension of the mind and one that connects you with that which is the very basis of creation. When you are in touch with this dimension, you are in a state of heightened awareness, which allows you to be fully conscious and intoxicated at the same time, and with no external stimulus whatsoever. When you learn to access chitta, being blissful is entirely natural. Sleep, wakefulness, death, these are all just different levels of awareness. Suppose you were dozing and something shook you awake, boom, the whole world comes back in a single moment. That is not a small thing. You recreated the whole existence instantly. The world which was obliterated in your experience pops back, not in 7 days, in just a moment. How do you know whether the world exists or not? Only by your experience. There is no other proof. So awareness is that which can either create or obliterate this existence. That is the magic of awareness. You can pitch your awareness up to different levels. As you notch it up further and further, whole new dimensions of existence open up in your experience. Worlds that nobody had imagined in their wildest possible dreams become a living reality for you. When you are asleep, the world does not exist because you are largely unaware. But even in sleep, you are not completely unaware. The difference between a sleeping person and a dead person is one of awareness. Similarly, between a wakeful person and an awakened or enlightened person, there is a difference. The awakened person sleeps too, but has managed so much awareness that some part of him or her does not sleep. The sense organs shut down, the body rests a bit, but everything else is on. This is because awareness has been notched up to another level. Awareness is a process of inclusiveness, a way of embracing this entire existence. You cannot do it, but you can set the right conditions so that it happens. Don't try to be aware. It will not work. If you keep your body, thought, emotion and energies properly aligned, awareness will blossom. You will become far more alive than you are right now. When you are consciously in touch with your awareness, you gain access to the subtlest dimension of physicality or Akash. As we have seen before, the universe is just a play of 5 elements: water, fire, earth, air and ether. Creation is just a frolic of these 5. It is ether that we refer to as Akash in yogic terminology, and each human being has a certain dimension of this 5th element around him or her. While the other elements are within the body, the Akashic or etheric dimension envelops the physical body, usually up to a distance of 18 to 21 inches. Because this element is still physical, it carries information. Anything that happens at a certain level of intensity or profundity in your life is written into this field of Akash around you. When you gain conscious access to your awareness, you gain access to the Akashic dimension around your body, as also the Akashic dimension around the planet, the solar system and the entire universe. Without any of the instruments of modern technology, the ancients in India and some other parts of the world amassed a remarkable amount of knowledge about the cosmos. All this was gleaned through the dimension of Chidakash, or the Akashic dimension of our intelligence. Once you're in touch with your awareness, you don't have to try to accomplish anything. You don't have to wish or dream, because the best possible thing that can happen to you will happen. In the yogic lore, it is said that when you learn to access this dimension, you have enslaved the divine. God works for you from now on. What exactly does this mean? This means that once you distance yourself from the compulsiveness of your own genetic and karmic information, life becomes unburdened, flexible, incredibly effortless. This is a dimension beyond intellect, beyond identification, beyond memory, beyond judgment, beyond karma, beyond divisions of every kind. This is the intelligence of existence itself, in which life always happens exactly the way it should, with absolute and unfaltering ease. Sadhana.